to cover all those cornflakes, and Pamela is going to use a couple spoons, and she's going to do those little clusters onto parchment paper, and she's going to drizzle a little bit of other cereal on top of it. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you, Pamela. And for me, I'm going to show you how to mold those little duck that we're going to use for desserts. So what I did, I take a little bit of white chocolates, I melt it, temper it, and then with a peppercorn, I drip a little bit of the white chocolate for the beak. You can also put eyes if you want. Then when that's done, I'm going to use my milk chocolate. Ken, would you have a little spoon or something for that? Yes.
Later. Jack, can I write?
No, a little bit, tiny bit more, and then on the bowl. So the way to mold chocolates is to take the chocolates into a mold like that. I'm going to just do a couples, 1 and 2, and then when that happens, what you do, you reverse the mold, and you're going to create a little, maybe 1/16 of an inch. Okay, and that's called a shell. So you see the chocolate is a shell now, and we have, as you can see, the beak, and the rest is milk chocolates. All I have to do is to put that into the refrigerator and let it come hard. So I'm going to put it in here. Okay, done. And guess what? I did some before you arrive, and you see, because the chocolate is tempered, because the cocoa butter shrink, those little ducks come out of the mold. And if you look at them at the light, they are very thin. And that's what we want. We don't want that to be too thick, because when you eat them, you don't want too thick chocolate. So I have those ducks ready here. Now what I want to do is actually a chocolate mousse. So I have some whipped cream, and you know, when I was in apprenticeship, we don't have all those mixer and everything. We do a lot of things by hand. And the whisk, that was very interesting. The whisk was called balloon whisk. There was a rounder, and there was a lot more wire. And I realized later on that more wire are on the whisk, faster you're going to be able to whip the cream. So what I do, I put 2 or 3 whisks together, and that's like a balloon whisk. And then the cream going to whip like 3 times faster than with one whisk. So 3 whisks, you go so fast to whip the cream. So you want the cream to be soft peak, that's what it is now. Okay, that's way enough. So you see, that's very important to remember, soft peak, thank you Ken, for the cream. The chocolates, so this is pretty much half quart of cream for 7 ounces of chocolates. That's pretty much the recipe. Yeah, that should be fine, Ken. I'm going to use this spatula here. Okay, so the way to do it, let's put it a little bit more. I need about 110 to 120 degrees. So we're going to zap it another 10-15 seconds. And then the chocolate is going to be hot enough. So the way to do it is very important. You take the cold cream and you put it in the hot chocolate, and then you mix. And depending of the reaction, leave it. Okay, and depending on the reaction, you go back to the hot, or you leave it into the cold. So I'm going to show you, you're going to see, because the cream is cold, you don't want the chocolate to set. So that's temperature are very important when you do this type of mousse. Okay, a second, and then we should be good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so I take maybe 1/3 of the cream, and I put it into a hot bowl, and then you mix it. Good. So no, the cream is not melting, so I'm going to leave everything into this bowl here. Okay, and then now I'm going to add the rest. So if the cream starts melting, you go back to the cold bowl. If it doesn't melt, then you can leave everything like that. Okay, so all we want to do is to mix everything. Don't overmix, you don't want to deflate the cream. But this is the fastest way to make a chocolate mousse. So I like the chocolate mousse with egg white, but you know, I'm always very careful because we don't cook the egg white, so I want to be sure that nobody gets sick with it. So whipped cream is way safer in a way. Okay, that's it. So you see the cream is beautiful, shiny, and well mixed together. So the next step, I'm going to use, thank you Ken, I'm going to use a piping bag and put some of the chocolates into a piping bag. Okay, that's going to be enough for what we want to do. Then using a paring knife or scissors, going to cut the tip of it. Okay, done. And then now I'm going to grab a little bit of nuts. And that's exactly what you're going to have for lunch. I did exactly that, put a little nuts on inside the mold like that. Okay, that's enough. Then I'm going to take the mousse and I'm going to pipe that over the nuts. So I hope nobody is allergic to nuts. And if you are, let us know, we'll do a different dessert. Actually, if you're allergic to nuts, I'm going to fill those 3 with no nuts in it. So in case you cannot have nuts, then those will not have it. Okay, so what I did for your dessert, I did that, tapped up the mold a little bit, and then I cover the top with something called praline. Praline is a mixture of caramel and nuts, so it's 70% nuts, 30% caramel. We ground that together and we put it to a machine, a refiner, that's going to crunch everything together. Then we add a tiny bit of chocolates to it, and then we get a paste like that. So that's pretty much, you know, almost, I mean, 70% hazelnut or nuts. No, this one is hazelnut. Huh?
Yeah.
So 70% hazelnut. So it's a very good flavor of hazelnuts. And what I did for the desserts, I just put that on top of it, and then with a spatula, I make it flat. Okay? So you understand the composition of the dessert: chocolate, nuts, chocolate mousse, and then the praline on top. So I have one of the desserts here already put together. Actually, I have a couple. So you recognize the praline here, and now you see the finished dessert. So we print Happy Easter, and the little rabbit was cut outside of the little piece of cardboard, and we just powder a little bit of the cocoa powder over to just make the shape, and we decorate with a little sauce and some little sprinkles. Now, another thing that I want to show you, something fun. I have some caramel here. Can you go to stir it? It's very dark. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so basically what I have here is 1 kilo of sugar, Ken. Yes. So pretty much 2 pounds of sugar for about 10 ounces of corn syrup. And why you put the corn syrup is because you want the sugar to not crystallize. You want the sugar to stay a little bit like honey. You see that beautiful color that the chocolate has, the sugar has. So this is the way to do it. We add a little bit of corn syrup, and then we have this color. Now, what I'm doing here, I'm taking the cold caramel from the side of the bowl, and I'm mixing it with the center. And what that do is that make the consistency a little bit like honey, because I need the sugar to be a little bit colder, a little bit thicker. I'm going to use a cooking spray into a bowl like that, and I'm going to, so I usually do it 2 times. I spray, I wipe it just to be sure that's everywhere, So I'm very careful to not use the one with garlic in it. Otherwise your dessert is going to have some flavor, maybe flavor that you don't want. Okay, so you can see now it's that coating everywhere. And what we do, I'm going to drizzle the caramel everywhere inside the bowl. I usually burn myself when I do that, so if you see me screaming it's because a drop of caramel hit me. So this is actually something not that complicated to do. It's if you think about the recipe is very simple: 2 pounds of sugar, 10 ounces of corn syrup, and then you drizzle everything on a stand mixer bowl. One of the thing is, thank you, the bowl is coming very hot with the caramel, you can imagine. So remember that I'm going to take this cage out, so I need the bottom of the cage to be a little bit stronger, because that's what's going to support the whole weight. Okay, so we should be okay with that. So now it's very hot. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little cold water around it. Ken has it here. How do you know I need cold water, Ken?
23 years.
Okay, so I cool it down a tiny bit, and now I'm going to try to unstick it from the bowl.
Oh, cool. Wow, that's amazing.
Oh my damn! I wish that my wife talked to me like that, you know? Oh, that's amazing! I didn't hear that for a long time.
That is amazing.
That's so nice of you. Thank you. I'm going
Oh.
to, if you don't mind, when the class is finished, I'm going to tape you saying that, okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to email my wife. Thank you.
That's fine. My pleasure.
Okay, so what we do now, we reverse it, holding it, and bada boom.
That's beautiful.
You need a
Voila.
bird inside the cage.
Thank you. And what we can do actually,
It's put a ducky inside.
and put the ducky inside the cage.
Oh, poor ducky.
Voila! Let me come
Voila.
around so we don't have I don't feel like I'm in a cage. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Okay, now, any question about chocolates or about sugar? Or not my private life?